Steve Alcorn's a fine investigator. What he's doing with this Chris dude, I have no idea.
I gave her cigarettes for our anniversary one year.
There you go. That's fucking romantic.
She didn't like gifts. I said, well, I want to get you something. What do you want? Let's give me a couple packs of cigarettes. So I wrapped them up and gave them to her.
Yeah, have some lung cancer.
You got a dead Bigfoot that's just been shot, hanging upside down in a tree. Though Meldrum was also careful to note, it's not a course about Bigfoot.
It's a course about Fozzie Bear. Who's Fozzie Bear? Some say his father was half grizzly. Nobody believed he was real. As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a Muppet. To me, that was better than being president of the United States.
They upped my meds last night, so anything's possible. We're laughing at a story about dead people. I can't explain it, but it sure makes me feel like the spirits are happy.
I mean, I guess you could say it might have been somebody's hand moving real quick, but it's not a fucking ghost.
The jury's still out on that.
See, your hoaxes come at you with smiles. They come as your friends.
Pope Francis says doggy heaven is real, so your dog has a soul.
Ah, so now the dogs can hang out with the pedophiles.
Not Benedict, Francis, Pope Francis.
No, I'm just guilt by association, Steve.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's what they say when they talk about me and you.
Yeah, there you go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fortean Slip, episode 64. The future's so bright, I've got to write quatrains episode.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yourself.
I don't have to do that anymore.
Tonight, we talk about Nostradamus, predicting the future, psychic phenomenon, maybe a few news stories, or nose stories, if I trip over my own fucking tongue. Steve, how are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Very good.
How's your future looking?
Very bright, Chris.
Oh, maybe you should write some quatrains.
I've thought about it, actually.
Futuristic quatrains?
Yeah, why not?
Are you going to predict the coming of the Antichrist?
If I were to write quatrains or something like quatrains and made them ambiguous enough, I could probably make a lot of money.
Well, yeah.
Well,
I mean, look at how big of an industry that astrology is still to this day. They still
I've seen a commercial.
They still have fucking the little printouts in the newspaper. They still have I see people posting shit all the time about it, their daily horoscope. People want to know about the future.
You remember Miss Cleo?
Oh, call me now for your free reading.
She's doing TV commercials now. I can't remember.
What was she doing now?
A cereal commercial, I believe.
Call me now for some Captain Crunch.
It was hilarious when I saw it. I'm like, that really is Miss Cleo.
Jesus Christ.
I remember as a kid watching Miss Cleo on, late night TV when I wasn't supposed to be awake and shit. But.
Oh God, yeah. I remember when all that shit went down. When they got, she got was it charged or something like that?
I don't know.
I don't remember. They shut the whole fucking thing down. I know that. I remember that whole thing went down. Oh, it was a big scam. No, really? Was it a big scam? I can't imagine.
But she's back now, and she's reading, well, not tea leaves, but...
What, selling Amway is a pyramid scheme, Steve?
I lost a good friend over Amway. I did. It was called Quickstar at the time. They changed the name to make it so it wasn't so Amway-ish.
Amway-ish?
Yeah. Remember before the show I was telling you I lost a good friend?
Oh, yeah.
Deal?
Yeah.
That was the business deal.
Fucking Amway, pyramid schemes. They all suck.
Some people make money.
Yeah, some
on
people
Amway,
do make
but
money. I've seen people
you,
make money, and they usually screw a lot of other people in the process.
yeah. And here's what you never ask somebody who's selling Amway if they try to sign you up, because if you ask this question, you will no longer be a friend of this person. And the question is, how much do you make? Don't ask that question.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's I worked at a place where I got done there last year, and the gentleman that runs the place and sells a product called Narium, which is a fucking face cream. I think it's made with whale semen.
Oh, cool.
I don't know. I don't know what the fuck it's made with, but supposedly it makes you look younger. Which, okay, yeah, sure. But so they pimp this shit everywhere, and he literally, I won't say that he makes his employees or salesmen sell the product, but they all do it.
Right.
And if you ask them if they can stop doing it, they will tell you no. But it's the same thing. You can't ask them what they make off of it, because they'll sit there and tell people. I'd sit at work and listen to them tell people, "Oh, you can, work in very little time. You can make thousands and thousands of dollars." Really? Why the fuck are you sitting here selling cars every fucking day, bitching about it?
Chris, someday we could do a show about Amway or programs like Amway as a cult, because that's basically what
That's
shit
not
is.
a bad idea. I think we should change the show right now to the cult of Amway.
The cult of Amway. It's true, though.
No, but yeah, pyramid schemes, they fucking bug the shit out of me. But yeah, so Nostradamus. I don't know what to believe when it comes to Nostradamus. I've seen all the fucking TV shows. Not all of them, but I've seen a shit ton of them. I can remember being a kid and being younger, and it was big news when they had like the big Nostradamus shows on TV.
Right.
It was for me anyway. I enjoyed watching them, and they took a lot of liberties with shit.
Yeah, of course they
when
did.
it came to those shows. But supposedly, and I'm, as always, we are the wiki source. It's so easy to just go to wiki when you're trying to get information, like just general information. So
That's what it's for,
if
right?
people want to bitch, I don't give a shit. But Wikipedia
is never wrong.
Good old Michel de Nostradamus. I think I might be.
No, that's right. Yeah. Michel de Nostradamus. Yeah, you had it right.
And he was which was later Latinized, or usually Latinized as Nostradamus. Was a French apothecary and seer. And so as I was reading this earlier, Steve, I was like, he was the original Dr. fucking Strange. Dr. Strange in the comic books was a surgeon, and then his hands got fucked up, I think, so he couldn't be a surgeon anymore. And then he became a magician, not a magician, well, a master of the dark arts. And this is kind of like what Nostradamus was. He was this physician who became an astrologer and a prophet. And supposedly he was worried about the Inquisition and shit, because I guess that was during his time. But that the weird thing is that astrology and prophecy was not considered a bad thing. Only if you used magic in conjunction with it. Now I want to know how the fuck they figured that out. Like, how do you know if you're using magic in conjunction with astrology and prophecy or not?
Well, it was called judicial astrology at the time. or the astrological judgment or assessment of the quality of events such as births, weddings, coronations, etc.
I don't fucking know. From what I read, I know that, or from what I gather, the other astrologers of the time criticized him for what he did. But it was one of the queens. We got to look here, Steve.
I can't remember.
I'm not
which
really
queen,
prepared. Catherine de Medici, wife of King Henry II of France.
You could have just said wife of King Henry. It would have been easier.
Yeah, you know me. I like to get my facts straight there, Steve.
Yeah, that's why we go to Wikipedia.
But I guess supposedly he said that there was going to be some weird thing that was going to happen to the royal family, but he thought he was going to get fucking beheaded for saying it, but she like wanted him to come in and, you know, write up charts for her whole family. And then she eventually named him counselor and physician in ordinary to her son, the young King Charles the Ninth.
Well, I guess that you know, he predicted how they would all die, all her children, and I guess most of it was true. It came true, and that's where he actually became as big as he is now. That's what made him famous in the first place. So,
and I don't know if I buy into the shit. I've talked many times on the show about things that have happened to me, different experiences that I've had where I've seen things before they've happened, long before they've happened, and it wasn't like just some weird deja vu thing. It was this like a serious thing where it was life changing in a way when it happened. But I still don't know that I understand or buy into what that is.
I've had glimpses of the future in my lifetime, but I can't say that any of them were actually life-changing. They were mostly mundane events, but I've seen them before they happened. I mean, I could go into detail.
The one that I've told on the show before that really hit me was when I was extremely young. I used to have this, and the only way I can describe it is as a vision, because I'd just be sitting around and I'd just like kind of stare off into space while I was like eating or doing shit around or whatever, and I would see this thing where, at the time, they had these "Say No to Drugs" commercials on TV. And, you know, it was always, you know, this is your brain on drugs, all these different fucking drug commercials.
Any questions?
Right. And the way this vision started out was like one of these anti-drug commercials. And when it flipped like a film, and then it came to, and then there were two kids sitting on a bench. One of them hands something to the other one, and he used to say, "You want another hit?" And then it fades to black in my vision. And then later on in life, I was a teenager. I was sitting on a bench in a fucking back ball field, huffing gas with a buddy of mine. I passed out while sitting up, and when I came to, it was, and oh yeah, in the vision there was this like echo, this fucking weird echo. And I couldn't understand what the echo was. But when you huff gas, you have an echo in your head. And when I came to, there was this echo, and then he said, the whole scene like unfolded before me. I freaked out. I fucking lost my mind. I fucking just like jumped up off the bench and ran straight into the woods and fucking hit a tree. Just fucking boom. And that, like I said, I don't know what that experience is. I don't understand.
I've never had any future, visions of, huffing gas, but I to
each their own, Steve.
Most of the time, what I experience anyway is stuff that's going to happen within days. It's not like long term, although there have been some, and a lot of the time it comes in the form of a dream. When I'm sleeping, it's not when I'm awake. So I don't know. But I truly believe that there is such a thing as being able to get glimpses of the future. Whether Michel de Nostradamus had it or not, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm really skeptical. The thing that everybody totes with Nostradamus is the fact that he predicted the coming of Hitler, but that he screwed up his name by 2 letters.
Well, a lot of the explanations for that is that things were changed on purpose by him because a lot of it was to do with people in his own time, and he didn't actually want them to know that's who he was talking about. But now with the Hitler thing, I don't know. What was it? Hister, I think.
Right, it was Hister.
And it does, a lot of that fits the story of Hitler very well. So I understand where people are coming from when they say it, but it could fit other things as well. I guess he allegedly predicted Napoleon as well.
Oh, yeah. There's all kinds of things that they attribute to it. And it comes down a lot of times to interpretation. And when it comes to interpretation, it's... I mean, fuck, 100 years from now, somebody could read the lyrics to a fucking Tool song and say that it, predicted the future.
They do, don't they?
Probably. He did say that he did say that California was gonna fall into the ocean in one of his songs. So
yeah, I'm a huge fan of Nostradamus, to be honest with you. Although I take it with a grain of salt. I'm not the type of fan who is going to defend that his prophecies are real, but I love the idea of Nostradamus and, like Edgar Cayce and that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I love the idea of it. And do I believe that it is possible? Absolutely.
I was just blown away, like I said in the beginning, when I first looked at it and realized he kind of was like Doctor Strange. Like he was this, not surgeon, but physician turned occultist. And I think that's kind of fascinating.
Right. Well, I first come across Nostradamus in high school, and that's where I first learned about Bigfoot and UFOs and all that. Well, I had some UFO experiences before that, but our library at the high school was actually pretty liberal, and we had all sorts of cool books in there, and Nostradamus is one of them, and that's the first I heard of him, and that's where I kind of fell in love with the idea of it. It was just fascinating to me, prophecies, and I came from a church background, and of course, in church, a lot of people believe in Christian-type prophecies and things like that, so it didn't seem that far-fetched to me at the time,
No, I completely agree. I found it kind of interesting. I grew up in a very Christian family, and all of my family was always fascinated by this shit. Mm-hmm. They would always watch these types of shows. They would always check this stuff out, but it was always evil.
Well, I think that's the same with me, except we weren't really, I kind of hid my fascination with this kind of thing. The very first book I picked up was Uri Geller. Are you familiar with Uri Geller?
Spoon bending
boy. Used to bend spoons. Yeah, that was the first book I picked up out of the library, and that is what started me on my strange quest that I'm still on today. But those ideas, that people could actually do things like that. Now, Uri Geller was outed, I think, by Johnny Carson on the Tonight Show, but so it wasn't real, but the idea that is maybe possible, or prophecies are maybe possible, or things like that, it was just so cool to me, and it was kind of a lifelong thing.
And we've done shows on the remote viewing that they tried to do, the U.S. government tried to do, and they were huge into remote viewing. And according to some people, that stuff works.
According to some, it still goes on.
Right.
So I think Russia is still doing things to that nature.
Yeah, it's
allegedly. Of course.
It's some pretty scary shit when it comes right down to
it. I had a guy comment on one of my YouTube videos the other day, and it was kind of prophecy related, I guess. But the guy's name is Dutch Sense. He's on YouTube. He's got 90,000 subscribers. But he commented on my video because I did the video of all the hoaxes so far this year. And he said, Bigfoot hoaxes or Bigfoot sightings always come before a false flag event. So I guess, in a way, Bigfoot is a prophet, right? Like the Mothman.
Bigfoot and the Mothman. They're hanging
But
out,
anyway, if you
having
get
a
a
beer.
chance, people go check out his YouTube channel. It's pretty cool.
Oh,
He
shit.
does a lot of the false flag stuff and the earthquakes with fracking and all that shit. So
Yeah, we have to
actually pretty
at some
interesting
point
stuff
put
that he does.
together an Illuminati show, style
I
conspiracy.
hear rumors that there is a Bigfoot Illuminati. I don't know where this is coming from, but there's a secret group of people in the Bigfoot community that control the flow of information, apparently. I don't know whose idea this was.
Bigfoot
I first saw Henry.
Illuminati.
Yes, I first heard Henry May say it, so maybe
Oh,
maybe he
Jesus.
knows something that we don't.
It's still real to me, damn it!
Oh, I heard Dr. Johnson say that, by the way.
Yeah, he fucking would.
You know, you said that it came off the pages of myth into reality or some bullshit like that. He
Right.
said that on a Discovery or a Destination America show the other
I
day.
told
He
ya.
didn't cry this time, though.
Didn't I fucking tell you that that's what he does?
Yes, that's what he does.
Holy
He
shit.
is not a prophet.
No. No.
Not a prophet.
Not in the
Well, if you get
least.
into... A lot of people think that Nostradamus' prophecies were actually rewrites of maybe biblical things, you know, like the Book of Revelations and shit.
Oh,
And
people
just
say that
kind
he
of
took from a lot of that
supplemented it and
stuff.
Right.
And
Or other events of the time or books of the time, and he just took it and reworded it and supplemented it and did that kind of thing. So
it's very possible. I wasn't there. I didn't watch the guy. I didn't know him. I couldn't tell
there
you.
is a theory out there, Chris, that who was it that was exiled in the Book of Revelations? The guy who wrote the Book of Revelations. My mind is kind of off right now.
I don't
Was it
fucking
John or
know. I want to
James
say
or-
John.
Anyway, he was actually living in a cave at the time, and there was another famous prophet, a female, and I can't remember. This was, you know, not as long ago as the Bible, but they found that the cave actually had hallucinogenic values to it, and that's where. And they're thinking a lot of caves have something in them that will cause hallucinations and shit. And they're thinking that the Bible, the Book of Revelation, was actually a big hallucination. Now,
Hey,
I
I'm
don't
down.
subscribe to that necessarily, but I could see. We could do a show on that even. But,
I've seen some pretty fucked up shit on drugs.
right, and if
But
you
here's
read
here's the thing
Book
when
of
it comes
Revelations and-
to the experiences that I have seen on psychedelic drugs, nothing was ever to the point of that I was looking at things in the here and now and they changed into something else. If anything like that happened, it was in my own head.
Right, but let's put yourself 2,000 years ago, or even in the time of Nostradamus. He could have been. I get he used some sort of something when he was, smoke or something. But anyway, he could have been hallucinating something. But if you put yourself in that time, when you don't realize what's going on, you could
Speaking of which,
assume
Steve.
it's future shit. You know,
Oh yeah.
that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no. Hey, is it something that is very possible? Yes. I subscribe to the idea that the perception of future events is possible. Because I've kind of seen it. But I don't know
Right.
what it is. I watched, or no, I've not watched, but I listened to a show when I used to listen to satellite radio a lot on Sirius XM, Ron and Fez, and they had I think it was a scientist or somebody who had written a book about time, and that scientists, that time, it just, time's really weird. It's a strange fucking thing that nobody really understands it. And the thing that he said that really kind of fucked with me a lot was we don't really understand why we can remember yesterday, but we can't remember tomorrow. Because in the grand scheme of things, it's all the same. So
That's deep.
Yeah, it goes down that fucking that lovely little rabbit hole that makes your fucking head go boop. And
when I was in church when I was a kid, somebody, and I can't remember who it was, but they explained how God looks at us. And this kind of blew my mind as a kid, and it kind of makes sense whether you believe in God or not, but time, our life, is like a parade. And God is sitting up on the, the judge platform, and he can see the entire parade. We're in the parade, so we only see what's right around us. So whether you believe in God or not, I believe
the same thing was
the
same thing was brought up when we did the Mothman Prophecies show. Remember when we watched the Mothman Prophecies and did that show?
Right.
Okay. There's a professor in that movie, and Richard Gere's character goes to him and is asking him about the Mothman, how the Mothman could possibly see these future events. And the guy points up to a window washer on a building, and he says, "You see that window washer up there? He could see an accident happening 4 or 5 blocks away that we can't see or hear." Does that make him some omniscient being, or does that just make him a person with a different perspective?
Right.
And I think a lot of it comes down to perspective. And I don't know if it's just our brains perceiving the way things are when we see glimpses of these things, or what. I really don't know. It's fascinating to me. It scares the shit out of me sometimes. But
Now, the only real issue I have with people being able to see the future, now, like you and I both have had slight experiences, but people who, psychic mediums and all this bullshit, I think most of that is just, that's garbage.
If somebody's really truly psychic, they'd be winning the fucking lottery. Like, if I was psychic, I would do it tomorrow. If I've had true psychic ability.
Why is it that, we can see glimpses of the future, but nobody seems to be able to really predict the future? There's nobody out there who actually, okay, tomorrow this is going to happen. Or, somebody's going to blow up this building, or somebody's going to die in China, or something. Why isn't that possible? But yet, I do believe that we can see a little bit into the future. Yeah, maybe it's just that we can't interpret what we're seeing.
Dude, I've read tarot cards. I've read runes. I still own decks of tarot cards. I still own runes. I haven't used them in fucking years. But I was very into a lot of this shit. And I get taken back to the things that I've said so many times before. The Crowley's explanation of magic, or how you should look at life. I don't know exactly what it is, but the fact that life is a river, and if you can understand how the river flows, and you can put yourself in better positions as you're going down the river, it may seem magical, but it's just perception and understanding. That's all it is. Now,
I don't think there's anybody out there who can really understand, when you get a vision of the future, or you see something that's going to happen and it does. I don't think there's really anybody out there who understands that clearly, because if there were,
that person would be
know tomorrow's news.
If there were, that person would either A, be very dangerous, or B, save the human race. Like, one of two things would happen.
Be very, very rich.
Right, and just like hang out and do nothing. Those three options. You're going to find either somebody who's going to fucking, just fuck everybody over.
Well, maybe that type of person wouldn't be public. Maybe they wouldn't. I don't know. I'm taken back to when Princess Diana died. She was a big believer in psychics and things of that nature. So after she died, they interviewed her psychic on national TV. I don't remember which channel, CNN or something like that. And they said, why didn't you tell her she was going to die? And her psychic says, well, I'm a positive psychic. I don't tell people that they're going to die. I'm like, come on.
Jesus.
What kind of bullshit is that? And for a long time, I thought to myself, well, there isn't anything to it. And I think your TV psychics, your paid psychics, those kind of people, they're all full of bullshit. You know?
No, I do too. I think that the vast majority of this shit you see on TV and telephone 900 numbers or whatever, it's all fucking crap. And it just preys on people who have low self-esteem and, don't have, I guess, the capacity to understand that it's just them getting screwed over and getting conned.
It's a trick. It's a trick.
It's a fucking huge trick.
And there's people who are really good at it,
Oh, there are people who just, they work diligently to be able to read a room or read a person. Didn't Houdini
say, Houdini was a big believer in that sort of thing. And he said, if it's possible, I'll come back and tell you. Well, we haven't seen Houdini. So, if I can haunt you, I'm going to come back. No,
he's dead, Steve.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is he didn't come back to tell us, okay, this is real. So,
because he was like, fuck that.
I guess I'm still torn on it. I've had the experiences just like you have, but I don't know what that means.
Right. I don't know what it means, and I don't know if it's even significant. I mean, obviously, right, to some degree, to me as a person, the drug thing when I was a young kid was very significant. It was. Right. It felt like after I was older, it felt like a huge warning. Like something was trying to tell me, listen, you're gonna fucking go down a path you don't want to. And it was, whatever it was very right, if that's the case. But
right,
that was the one that scared the shit out of me, because when it happened, it frightened me so bad that I lost all capacity to control who I was in that moment. Like I had when I got up and ran, I personally didn't get up and run. Like there was no me controlling my legs. I just got up and ran fucking headlong into a tree in the woods. So I don't know what that is. I don't know what it means ultimately. But like I said, a big part of me is like, hey, it was a fucking warning that you just didn't heed.
Well, sometimes they can be good too. The one that I remember the most, I mean, I've had a lot, but the one that I remember the most was when I was younger and I was dating my girlfriend at the time, who is now my girlfriend again. And I had a dream one night, and we were just kids at the time, high school kids. But I had a dream that we were in a certain place at a certain time and talking about a certain subject. And then like a week later, it was there. I mean, it happened. And I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me, But it was just a mundane thing, really. I mean, it wasn't anything that changed my life.
And any of the other ones,
I still remember it.
Any of the other ones that I've had have all been mundane.
But I can tell you, I can remember it vividly, both events. I can remember having the dream. I can remember the dream coming true, and they matched exactly. And I wasn't thinking about the dream when the event was going down until after. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it wasn't like I made it happen, although I think that some people can. I think that's what horoscopes do to people. They make their life go according to that. But
or they again, Steve, it comes down to perception.
Right.
Horoscopes are written extremely ambiguous.
Of course they are. But in this case, of the little vision that I had, the one that I remember the most, you know, it hit me, and I'm like, holy fuck, this already happened.
Steve, let me do a quick quick reading on you. See, Steve, you're kind of conservative, but you're a little bit liberal. You're kind of a country guy, but you got a little bit of city in you.
A little bit.
It's all fucking ambiguous,
you
Steve.
You know me so well.
It's fucking ambiguous. That's all it is.
I'm a little bit country.
Yeah, fuck you, and I'm not a little bit rock and roll.
You're supposed to sing the other half.
No, I am not singing the other half. That shit
Donnie
is
and
not
Marie.
going down.
No, was that Donnie and Marie?
Yeah,
well, Donnie and Marie did it, but it was somebody else first, I think.
I don't fucking know. Do you have some fucking news? Because I think we've rambled on about the future and bullshit and...
Yeah, but you know what?
What?
I predict that I have some news. See?
Look at you. Look at you. Fucking Nostra Steve.
Prefer Steve Adamus.
Steve
It
Adamus.
sounds, more man.
That sounds more man. Steve Adamus.
Like Adonis. It was Steve Adonis. That's it. That's what I want to be called. A Greek god, right?
No.
Speaking of psychedelics, HuffingtonPost.com. Could psychedelics be an effective suicide prevention measure?
It depends.
I can see a lot of, mushroom users.
I am
touting
before you start this story, I'm very on board with the research. People, don't think that this means that if you're feeling suicidal, that you should just go out and take some mushrooms. Steve, continue.
Okay. The new wave of research on medical applications of psychedelic drugs has suggested that these substances may hold considerable promise as therapeutic interventions for a number of mental health conditions. And according to another new study, use of classic psychedelics such as psilocybin, is that how you pronounce that one?
Steve, psilocybin.
Okay. Magic mushrooms, LSD, and mescaline. May also be an effective suicide prevention measure. University of Alabama at Birmingham, where the hell is that? Researchers, that's how it's spelled, Birmingham, but I think they put the on the end accidentally. Researchers studied data on 190,000, you got it, yeah, 190,000 American adults collected between 2008 and 2012 as part of the National Survey on Drug Use and Health. The data showed that lifetime psychedelic use was associated with 19% reduction in past month psychological distress, a 14% reduced likelihood of past year suicidal thinking, and a 29% reduced likelihood of past year suicidal planning. Those who had used psychedelics had a 36% reduced likelihood of attempting suicide in the past year. Lifetime use of non-psychedelic illicit drugs, on the other hand, was linked with an increased likelihood of these outcomes. While the study doesn't offer an answer as to why the use of psychedelics was correlated with reduced psychological distress and suicidality, that's what it says. It does not. Suicidality. It does suggest that more research could be helpful in determining whether psychedelics hold promise for suicide prevention. Of course they want more research.
I want some more research. How do I get on board?
Right. Here's why I think this study came to the conclusion it did. We're going to give you some LSD. Tell us whether you're suicidal. If you're suicidal, we're going to take it away from you.
No, Steve.
No, I'm not suicidal.
I don't think that's how it's going down. They have been doing some really promising research in these areas, as far as I'm concerned, on a serious note. I'm very behind what they're doing with psychedelics in the mental health industry for depression and for obviously now people who are suicidal. I think it's a great thing, but I don't think that it means that people should be going out and taking LSD and mescaline and magic mushrooms and expecting that they're going to just get better. They're trying to figure out what it is within these things that makes this happen. Steve, you can continue now.
I like your take on that, Chris. From space.com, An investigative organization has kickstarted the creation of a worldwide UFO database, which will allow people around the globe to report their supposed extraterrestrial encounters.
I seen a UFO, Steve!
A new tool from the Mutual UFO Network, or MUFON, promises to help demystify the mystique that rides along with Skywatchers' interpretations that extraterrestrial intruders are
It
cruising
has some
Earth's
blinking
airspace.
red lights and it goes in the same path over my house every single night.
But in today's age of video and cell phone cameras, iPhone apps, Twitter, and other techniques, can these tools assist or hinder classifying the strangeness factor of USOs? USOs are under
I
the
seen
water.
a USO, Steve!
You know what a USO is, Chris? There really is such a thing. It's unidentified submersible object, or submersed object.
Ah.
That's what a USO is. A UFO that comes out of the water. MUFON's plan to take this ad.
Does that mean the Loch Ness Monster is a USO, Steve?
No. MUFON's plan to plot out a new database is designed to advance the group's investigative and citizen action sighting efforts. The organization's mission is the scientific study of UFOs for the benefit of humanity, said Jane Harzan.
I'm the newest UFO researcher.
To do real science, one would need a way to collect and store observations and measurements taken from a given field of study, in this case, UFOs, and also to retrieve and correlate this data in the form of analysis and possible experiments, Harzan said. Got me all flustered. Anyway, what they're doing is just creating a new type of database. MUFON's had a database for a very long time. In fact, I have two of my UFO sightings in the past are on the MUFON database. And one of them was considered credible.
I'm going to contribute to the MUFON research database, Steve.
If I can find it, I'll post a link somewhere someday. But I can't. It's back in like 2008 or something. All right. And some sad news, Chris. And I don't know what we're going to do, but no more. Oh, this is from Fortune.com. No more Bigfoot garden statues. Sky Mall has filed for bankruptcy.
Oh, shit. I was going to order one of them, too.
I actually want to, but I'm sure that somebody else is going to pick up the slack.
Oh,
but
yeah.
We'll see.
We'll still have Bigfoot garden statues.
The 25-year-old in-flight catalog's revenue has dipped recently thanks to the prevalence of mobile devices and Wi-Fi on airplanes. The parent company of in-flight shopping catalog Sky Mall has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, citing an increased prevalence of mobile devices on planes as the primary reason for the company's flagging sales. Exhibit Corp. And several of its affiliates, including Sky Mall, have asked a U.S. bankruptcy court in Phoenix to supervise the sale of their collective assets, the company announced on Friday. We are extremely disappointed in this result and are hopeful that Sky Mall and the iconic Sky Mall brand find a home to continue to operate as Sky Mall for the last 25 years, said Scott Willey, Exhibit's chief financial officer and acting CEO. Sometimes, Chris, when I'm reading a story, I can't remember like the last three words I read, so then it doesn't make any sense to me.
Me too, Steve, but I'm usually high.
I'm never high. That's the sad part about it. With the increased use of electronic devices on planes, fewer people browse the Sky Mall in-flight catalog, Wiley said in a bankruptcy filing. The Sky Mall catalog has long been an option for bored or curious flight passengers who could pursue its pages to find a myriad of products for purchase, from clothing and electronics to more non-essential fanfare or fare such as glow-in-the-dark toilet seats and Justin Bieber dental floss.
Oh, I gotta get me some Justin Bieber dental floss, Steve. The Biebs.
Is that like Obama toilet paper or whoever the latest president is?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess so.
Sky Mall's widely diverse offerings cemented the catalog's place in pop culture, inspiring parodies as well as blogs and listicles. What is a listicle? dedicated to its more perplexing products. There must be. We're going to have to look in to see what a listicle is. So, no more Bigfoot garden statues from Sky Mall, but like I said, I think somebody will probably pick up the slack. Maybe we should.
Sure.
Offer them on forteanslip.blogspot.com or something.
That could work.
Mm-hmm.
This has been episode 64 of the Fortean Slip. If you like this shit, hit the like button. If you don't, hit the little thumbs down button. You can leave a shitty comment. I've responded to a few of them in the past couple days.
I'm getting a vision, Chris.
Oh.
The next episode will be 65. That is my prediction.
Steve, you were wrong. 65 has been canned in favor of 66.
I prefer 69.
What have I fucking told you? What the fuck is wrong with you as a human being? Like, seriously.
65, 66.
No, what? Really?